Calm down, Commissioner. What happened?
Well, it happened last night.
Flashback.
Hey! Get away!
I see. Well, we must not let this goose go to waste. Take it home so that you and your wife may eat it.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
What do you see there, Holmes?
I see many things, Watson. I noticed the initials HB on the inside of the lining of the hat. What do you see?
It seems to me that the initials are the only noticeable thing about this hat.
That's where you're wrong, Watson. We know that the man is highly intellectual. He was very well off the past 3 years, but he has recently fallen on hard times. He had foresight, but that has declined lately. Put that together with him falling upon hard times lately, he most likely has fallen into drinking. His wife has ceased to love him, and we cannot forget about that, can we?
Now, Holmes, that seems a little far-stretched, wouldn't you agree? How could you possibly know this from a hat?
Well, the man is an intellectual due to the large hat. Something must be inside of his head. We know he had a decline in fortune due to his ability to buy such a nice hat that came out about 3 years ago, but has not bought a new hat since then. He has secures on the inside of the hat, which means he has some bit of foresight since he noticed the hat is not as good as it once was.
That is quite the simile. Well, you have made your point, but what about his wife ceasing to love him?
His hat has not been brushed in weeks, and any loving wife would not allow her husband to go out with such a despicable hat.
Mr. Holmes! Mr. Holmes!
What is it?
Look what I found in the goose's crop.
Well, if it isn't the blue carbuncle.
What are you doing now, Holmes?
Placing something in the paper for this hat and the goose.
Found at the corner of Goode Street, a goose in a black felt hat. Mr. Henry Baker can have the same by applying at 6:30 this evening at 221B Baker Street.
Commissioner, leave the stone with me, then go down to the market and bring me another goose. Watson?
Holmes?
Hello, Mr. Baker. Is this your hat?
Why, yes it is. Thank you for holding on to it, Mr. Holmes.
Along with this hat, we also found this goose. Might this also belong to you?
It most certainly does.
Why did you not come back for these items, sir?
I was certain that those thugs had taken my belongings after they had assaulted me.
Well, unfortunately, we already cooked up that last goose, but we bought you another equally fine bird, and you can also have the remains of the last goose.
I do not need the remains. I will just take this fine bird instead.
Well, what do you make of it, Holmes?
I do not think he has any part in this crime, for if he did, he would have wanted the throat of the goose, because the blue carbuncle was in it.
Well, what's next, Holmes?
We have to go to the poultry market. We must find out where this geese came from.
Where are the rest of Mrs. Oakshot's geese?
I am tired of people asking me about these stupid geese. This business is between Mrs. Oakshott and myself. You can leave now, sir.
Did you say you were looking for Mr. Oakshot's geese?
Yes, I did. Do you know something about it?
I know all. I know the goose went from Mr. Oakshott to a Mr. Breckenridge, and from there it went to a Mr. Windigate. From Mr. Windigate, he sold it to Henry Baker, and now I have acquired the goose.
And what did you say your name was?
I am Sherlock Holmes. This is my associate, Mr. Watson. What's your name?
John Robinson.
How about we catch a cab? Tell me, sir, what is your real name?
My real name?
That's right. I'm not ignorant, nor am I stupid. What is it? Spit it out.
It's James Ryder.
Tell me, Mr. Ryder, what do you do for a living?
I work at the Hotel Cosmopolitan.
Ah, so you must have been there when the blue carbuncle was stolen from the Countess.
Yes.
Well, you see, Mr. Ryder, I don't believe you're after the goose that I have, but rather this. The blue carbuncle, which you have stolen.
Sir, please have mercy on me. I was not alone.
I was with the Countess's maid, Catherine Cusack. She told me about the stone.
So you and your lover, Mrs. Cusack, stole the blue carbuncle.
Then you chose to blame it on an innocent man.
Yeah, please don't do anything.
This was the Blue Carbuncle. I'm Annalise, and I played Henry Baker and Breckenworth.
I'm Louisa, and I play James Ryder and the Commissioner.
I'm Colby Curran and I played Watson.
I'm Trevor Rand and I played Sherlock Holmes.
The theme of this story was justice, and the first example of that was Henry Baker getting the goose after his was stolen.
And the second example was Sherlock catching Ryder.
And one of the literary devices we found was flashback, and that was used in the first scene when the commissioner was telling us about what happened the night before.
And the last literary device was the simile we used also in the first scene, where we talked about the hat and compared it to something it was in the past.
Thank you.
you.